have Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball, the number 1 and number 3 pick in the 2020 NBA draft, but they sent Naz Reid, a unprotected first-round pick, 3 first-round pick swaps, and 3 second-round picks. The Hornets didn't go into this offseason saying, hey, we're going to trade LaMelo Ball. He's at the peak of his value, though, and he had a great end to the season. And the sides actually ended up having a good finish as far as their relationship. But when teams like Minnesota, Toronto start making offers and bidding, you have to listen. The Hornets have always been in the mindset to listen to offers for LaMelo Ball, and you think about it from the Minnesota perspective. This is a massive swing. Tim Connolly, the president, is not a stranger for taking risks, and the Rudy Gobert deal several years ago was a risk. That team ends up going to the conference finals with Rudy Gobert. He's impacted winning at a high level. There's obviously not the winning history for LaMelo Ball, but now you try to infuse yourself with as much talent as you can. They needed a point guard in the worst way in Minnesota, and they knew it. They were going out to try to address this need for a star player. And I think now when you spin it forward, my understanding is LaMelo Ball is very excited to go play with Anthony Edwards to try to win championships. He knows the task at hand here. The mandate when you have Anthony Edwards is to try to win every single year. Those two guys, from my understanding, they're friends. They've had communication in the recent past. And when you look at it from the Hornets' perspective, though, to get the first-round pick unprotected that's far out, you get 3 first-round swaps, you get seconds, and Naz Reid, his ability as a two-way three-point shooter, ability to defend, play both sides of the floor, this is a major, major hole that gets filled for the Hornets front court moving forward. Okay, so Minnesota now has a very stacked team. Stephen A., your reaction to this trade, LaMelo Ball now going to play with Anthony Edwards in Minnesota?
Well, number one, you can't dislike it. It's an elite backcourt. You have to remember that LaMelo averaged 20 this year, shooting 37% from three-point range. Him and Concanippo were 2 and 1 respectively in terms of three-point field goals made. LaMelo Ball made 272 three-pointers. So the brother can score, but his gift is passing the basketball. And look who he's passing it to. A superstar, if ever there was one, in Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards. So certainly from a backcourt perspective, knowing how desperately they needed help at the point guard spot, you definitely answered that call. So I think it's definitely a huge, huge plus, and I give them credit for that. But for me, I find myself, Vinny, Shams, Wendy, looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves and feeling like they got a little bit smaller in a conference where obviously size matters because of OKC and San Antonio. And so for me, I do find myself looking at them. Now, granted, it's a bit offset by the fact that Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks won the title, and you saw the Knicks being led by a 6'1" guard. I get that part. But the other side to it is that being in the Torrid Western Conference, with the size that exists, particularly with those two teams, we didn't even bring into the equation a Denver Nuggets squad, a Houston Rockets squad once they get Van Vliet back, etc. You look at the size that exists within the Western Conference, and really much all you really have is Rudy Gobert, at least to a large degree. That's how I'm looking at it right now. There's nothing to dismiss or be negative about the trade. LaMelo Ball is a star. Ant-Man is a superstar. That makes for an elite backcourt in the National Basketball Association. I get that part. I just got questions about what they're going to do with their front court, because losing Naz Reid obviously is somewhat of a significant loss. Okay, of the top 10 scorers from the 2020 NBA draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves now have 3 of them on their roster. Vinny, your reaction to the trade?
On paper, it's exciting. On paper, you're looking at maybe the most dynamic backcourt in the NBA. I think of LaMelo Ball and think of White Chocolate Jason Williams back in the day. A player who could do virtually everything on the floor. He could make every pass. He could take every single shot. The thing with him was always the decision making. Like when you look at top usage players, I know we got a graphic about that. LaMelo Ball's usage is top 10 in the NBA. Greater usage than Nikola Jokic and Cade Cunningham, guys that we know are one-man engines. Can he harness that playing alongside Anthony Edwards? Because Anthony Edwards, the one thing Anthony Edwards in the past couple of years, he had to take a lot of point guard duties on him and do a lot of distributing. He's going to get off the ball a little bit more, a lot more with LaMelo Ball there. Will LaMelo Ball be able to take advantage of the open looks that Ant is going to give him? Will he be able to harness that game playing in a more structured system alongside a guy who is the defined number 1 option? That's the thing I'm curious to see.
Johns, were you going to add something? Go ahead.
Yeah, this is why the Timberwolves, though, made this deal, right? Like, they needed an infusion of talent, someone at that point guard slot. They want someone to come in and take the onus off of Anthony Edwards when they need it. And there were two paths that the Timberwolves were taking the last 24, 48 hours. It was seeing, can we go get LaMelo Ball, or can we go get Jaylen Brown? They had conversations with the Celtics about Jaylen Brown in the last 24 hours, but it always comes down to price. How much do you have to pay? Do you have to give up 2-3 of your core pieces? They're not willing to trade Jayden McDaniels at this point. Him and Anthony Edwards, that relationship, how much they feel like Jayden McDaniels has taken that step to be a star caliber player. So if you can go get LaMelo Ball, yes, you're getting off of Naz Reid. He's a high-level rotation player for you. He was going to step into the starting role. You're getting rid of a ton of draft capital, but they feel like they're bringing someone in at the right time to take the onus and pressure off LaMelo Ball, off Anthony Edwards with LaMelo Ball, and they felt that the point guard need was more significant than trading maybe two bigs to fill a need at the wing or the four.
Well, let's just have real talk here. The Timberwolves package that they offer for Giannis Antetokounmpo, which they did make an offer, and for Jaylen Brown, were not good enough. But they did have enough to get LaMelo Ball. Let's just be honest with that. When was the last time we saw Ant Edwards? Do you remember what the last time we saw Ant Edwards? With 8 minutes on the clock, he was walking down and saying, we're done with this season. We're done, okay? He very clearly did not have a great season playing alongside Julius Randle. Randle had a poor playoffs, okay? So this is what we saw. The whole league saw that. Then we didn't see him, but you can only imagine what he was thinking when he saw his former running mate, Karl Anthony Towns, have a brilliant postseason run and hold the trophy at the end. As how many times this season, I'm sure the number is available, stats and info, how many times this season was Ant Edwards double teamed? It was probably approaching 1,000. Okay, especially in the playoffs. And every night he was faced with having to navigate those double teams to be the guy he was. All right. So now, so the whole league, as soon as Giannis gets traded, they're thinking Jaylen Brown, they're thinking Ant Edwards. How long till Ant is there? Obviously, the Timberwolves were stressed about this. Okay, we know they were stressed about this, Shay, because they tried to trade for Giannis and they looked into Jaylen Brown. And so this move, yes, it's a vote of confidence in LaMelo Ball. Yes, it's a vote of confidence in everything he can bring to a team. This is a move to keep Ant Edwards engaged in being in Minnesota because you're entering the segment of his career where it's a danger zone. You had this great success going to the conference finals 2-0. Now you go down a little bit. What do? This is a gutsy move to protect their franchise star in Minnesota.
Makes sense.
You're 1,000% right, and that's where I was going. Remember, LaMelo Ball is eligible for a 2-year, $119 million extension come July 6th, if I remember correctly. So obviously, acquiring him at this particular moment in time, they understand the kind of investment that they're making. But you don't make that investment unless you know it's something that Ant-Man is going to completely support. And Ant-Man definitely wants to support that. I think Ant-Man, and this needs to be said, this dude got hurt. We didn't know if he was going to come back for the remainder of the playoffs after sustaining that knee injury that he did. But sure enough, he came back, against the Spurs in that series. And despite, like you said, being double teamed more than 90% of the time, not just throughout the season, but in the playoffs, and being hobbled and not 100%, we still saw some greatness from him. So just imagine if he's 100% healthy and he doesn't have to be healthy. I think that's